Hey, it's Richie from Rock Guitar. Hey, nice to have you with me again. The last few lessons we went over the great song Smoke on the Water, and that's a great bass line, one of the greatest bass lines in the history of rock and roll. Now we're going to go over one of the greatest bass lines in the history of music in general, and that is the great Henry Mancini composition, Peter Gunn. Yes, the Peter Gunn theme. Now, maybe you haven't heard that before or heard that name before, but I'm pretty sure you've heard the riff. It goes a little something like this. Pretty sure you've heard that before. It gets used in cartoons and sometimes commercials, and who knows, you probably heard it on the radio before too. It's a really, really cool bass line. It's just one of the greatest bass lines of all time. And it's actually pretty simple, believe it or not. It sounds a little complicated, but it's actually simple. So we're just going to break it down for you into two parts. The first part, we're going to start with our right hand, what our right hand is doing. Now remember, in the last few lessons, we were just doing single finger picking, basically, just with our index finger, basically, when we were plucking. So we were doing things like this, just with our index finger, okay? So in this exercise, or in this riff, we're going to be doing alternate plucking, which is basically using our index and then our middle, alternating, just like this. And we're just going to be alternating on that top string as well. So all the notes that we play are just going to be on this top E string right here. So you don't need to worry about alternating between strings. We're just going to be concentrating just on alternating on one string. Okay? So the first thing to do is just to kind of start alternating. Just to get this down, we're just going to do index, middle. Okay? And just keep repeating that. Index, middle. Index, middle. Index, middle, like that. This is essentially what your right hand is going to be doing throughout the whole song. It's always going to be doing index, middle. Okay? So, very nice. Now you've got used to that. Let's go ahead and start talking about our left hand. Okay? Our left hand is going to be playing up the neck. Okay? Very nice. And we're going to be playing primarily open string and just on frets 2, 3, 4, and 5. But we're going to talk about this first part, just frets 2 and 3. Okay? So let's go ahead and break it down note by note. Okay? So our first note is going to be an open E. And we're going to hit that twice, alternating with our index and middle finger on our right finger. So remember when I said about open, open means you play that string without any left hand fingers on the neck at all. Just don't even touch the string with your left hand. Okay? So this is our first two notes. We're just going to do index and then middle. Just like that. Okay? Very nice. There's your index and middle. Okay, excellent. So those are your first two notes right there. Okay? Now for our next two notes. Okay, our third note is going to be, we're going to place our first finger on that second fret. Basically right there, just behind that second fret. Okay? This is going to be our third note, and we're going to pluck this with our index like this. Nice. Then we're going to release that note, and we're going to pluck the open E string with our middle finger, like that. Okay? So that's notes 3 and 4. Let's do that again. Okay? 3, right here with our first finger on that second fret, and then 4, open string. Okay. Now let's talk about notes 5 and 6. Okay? This time we're going to use our our second finger. We're going to put that on the third fret of that top E string. Okay? So let's just hit that once with our index finger. Very nice. Okay? Now let's release that, and we will pluck again with our middle finger on that top string, and that'll be our 6th note. Okay. So if you notice, we're alternating plucking between our index and middle throughout this whole sequence. So we started out, our 1st and 2nd notes are as follows, just open string, index and then middle. So open, open, okay. Then we're going to take our 1st finger, place that on the 2nd fret, pluck that with our index, and then release. And then we're going to pluck again that top string, but this time it's going to be open with our middle finger. Very nice. And then we're going to take our 2nd finger, place that on the 3rd fret, like so. Pluck that with our index. And then release and pluck that same string again, open with our middle finger. Okay, very nice. So there's sort of a pattern here, okay? So here it is again. We'll do it all together, all right? So I'll give you a little count, 4, and we'll come in. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. So let's do that one more time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. So that is part 1 of the Peter Gunn theme, okay? 6 notes right there, alternating picking. It's really not that difficult. It's really just more about the timing. Okay, well stick around because part 2 is really, really simple, and it's going to put everything all together, and then you're going to know how to play one of the greatest bass lines the entire world has ever known and heard, the Peter Gunn theme. My name is Richie, and I'll see you in the next lesson.